Hello all, I'm Suhasini. Welcome back to my channel Learn with Suhasini Shinde. Till the last classes we have completed the very first unit, that was the chapter 1, right? Electric charges and fields. We had complete total of 10 video series lectures over there, which had completed the whole and covered the whole insert syllabus, right? And the videos are also shoot in the form of the syllabus, right? And it is properly labeled video 1, 2, 3, 4 and all and so on, right? And you have total of 10 videos in the very first chapter, right? If at all you want to study that particular unit, that is electric charges and fields, you can just turn on the first one, then it will be followed by all the 10 videos, right? And you will be understanding the entire chapter electric charges and field, right? And from today's class we'll be dealing with the very second chapter, that is electrostatic potential and capacity. Now first let us see what does electrostatic potential means, and then we learn capacitance very later stages, right? So first, what do you mean by electrostatic potential? Before this electrostatic potential, you should understand that any object or anything that if at all it is held at some particular place with some height, right, it always has some potential energy into it, right? For example, say a tank filled with water present at some particular height has always some potential energy, right? And when you turn on the tap, the water starts running into running down, right? That potential stored energy will be converted into kinetic energy and the water flow down, right? So what I actually want to say you is, any object hold at some particular place has itself a potential energy into it, right? And when it starts moving, that potential energy itself is converted into kinetic energy, right? So by this what you can understand that the energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. It always there into some particular form, right? Now what do you mean by electrostatic potential? So before understanding this, you understand there is a charge, right? There is a charge. I said you in the very last classes also, whenever I say charges, there is always some electric field around it. You should always understand this. Whenever I say charge, there is some and these electric field lines are not everywhere, right? It is only confined to some particular distance, right? Say for example, now this charge lines are only up to this particular point. Beyond this, electric field is zero here, right? Because there is no charge line here, and hence the strength of electric field will be zero. Now these electric field lines are confined to only this particular region. Beyond this, there is no electric field lines, and hence the electric field will be zero at this particular section, right? Now say for example, you have some test charge, say Q0, right? If you want to move Q0 into this particular region, say you move here, or you move this particular region, right? You do not want, there is no work done in moving this particular charge. Why? Because there is no electric field. As the electric field or any field in this particular region is zero, you do not require any external force or external work to be done in moving this test charge, right? You move the test charge in this particular region, the work done in moving this region will be equal to zero. Why? Because it has nothing into that particular space, right? But if at all you want to move this particular test charge into a region of electric field, then there is already an electric field, so you are moving electric field because of the positive charge will be in this direction, right? Now say for example, it is a positive charge. I said you, whenever there is a positive charge, what are the electric field lines? They are always outward in direction. There is an electric charge now, that is point charge here. It has some electric field line confined up to this particular region. This is a positive, and hence all the electric field lines will be moving outwards, right? Now if at all at this particular condition, if you want to move any test charge from the outer region against this region, it should be moving against this electric field, right? The movement is in this direction, the movement is in this direction, and the electric field is in this direction, right? So you are moving against some energy, right? What is that energy? That is electric field. At this particular time, you want a work is done in moving a test charge against the electric field. Now this energy, what you wanted to move this test charge into electric field region, is called as potential energy of that test charge. Do you understand up to this point, right? Do not confuse, right? Now, how do you define electrostatic potential? Electrostatic potential is defined as the amount of the work done in bringing a test charge or unit positive charge from the distance of infinity to a region of electric field, or from the distance of infinity against the region of electric field. This is called as electrostatic potential. Why do you say that as infinity? Say for example, say you have a test charge here and it has only region electric field lines only up to this particular point. Now infinity doesn't mean the charge is located at a very far place. Infinity only means that the place where electric field is zero, right? Say for example, now this is a point charge and the radiations or the electric field lines are only up to 1 kilometer. Say for example, right, 1 kilometer. After 1 kilometer, or say for example 1.1 kilometer also, electric field will be zero. Now this particular distance is taken as infinity only, right? Infinite doesn't mean that the test charge is located so far. It only means that a region where electric field is zero, right? Wherever the electric field is zero, beyond some certain region, that particular distance is called as infinite distance. Is this clear up to this point? So how do you define electrostatic potential? Electrostatic potential is defined as the work done in bringing some positive or some test charge into a region of electric field against it. The amount of the work done in bringing this here is called as electrostatic potential. So how do you define it technically? That is, electrostatic potential is defined and it is abbreviated. It is given by the notation V, which will be equal to, right, work done in bringing a unit positive charge from that infinite distance against the electric field is called as electrostatic potential. Is this understandable? Right? Now, what is work done? Work is also a scalar quantity, right? Charge is also a scalar quantity. Whenever we say work only has magnitude, right? We do not say that work in some particular direction, right? So work is a scalar quantity. And what is charge? Q is charge here. Charge is also, it has only magnitude, right? We say only 5 coulomb, 3 coulomb, 2 coulomb. We do not say 2 coulomb in this direction, right? It only consists of only magnitude, right? So scalar and hence the electrostatic potential is also a scalar quantity, right? Understandable? Okay. Now what will be the SI unit for this particular electrostatic potential? What is the unit for work? It is joule, right? What is the unit for charge? It is coulomb, right? Is joule per coulomb is the SI unit of electrostatic potential, right? It can be joule per coulomb and another one it can be volt, right? Electrostatic potential has two SI units. It can be called either joule per coulomb or it can be a volt, right? Okay. Now what do you mean by potential difference? Say for example, you have a charge. It has some electric field. Initially the test charge was at this particular point, say A. You have another point B, right? When it was here, it had some potential, say V0 or V1. When you bring this particular charge, move this charge at this particular point, you move against the electric field. So some work done has taken place. So now it has another potential V2, right? The potential difference between the points A and B, when the test charge is moved into some electric field, is called as potential difference, right? A small amount of the work done is here in moving the charge from A to B. So you write it as dV is equal to, that is work done in moving a positive charge in the electric field, that is called as potential difference. Is this clear? Right? Now these two things are the main important things throughout the section of electrostatic potential. You will be coming across electrostatic potential and potential difference, right? You should always understand that whenever I say electrostatic potential, it is that amount of the work done in moving a test charge from the region of infinite to the region of electric field against it. The amount of the work done is called as electrostatic potential. Is this clear up to this point? Right? Now what you do is, in the very last classes, if you could remember, every time we had a charge, right, and we had some point where test charge was located, and here a point charge was located. In the very first classes, that is in the chapter 1, electric charges and fields, we always have found out what is the electric field at this particular point, right? Now what we do is, again the same scenario repeats, but now we find what is the electrostatic potential at some particular point due to a point charge, right? Is this clear? Now this point could be, this charge could be 1, and it could be a system of charges, right? Now when the system of charges, then there are so many charges, q1, q2, dash dash up to qn, right? Then we find what is the electrostatic potential at this particular point q naught, right, due to the system of charges that are present. Is this clear? Okay, in this particular derivation, we will derive what is the electric potential at some particular point P due to a point charge, right? Now say for example, you have taken a point charge here, point charge is positive Q, right? And you have another point, say P, which is at a distance of D from this particular point charge, right? Now you have to find out what is the electric potential, that is electrostatic potential at this particular point P due to a point charge plus Q, right? This is what the derivation goes on, right? You just understand what we are doing exactly in this particular derivation, and then followed by all the lines, right? First, you have to find out what is the electrostatic potential at this particular point P due to a point charge, that is Q. Now this is placed at a distance of D. Now you have another charge, test charge, which is placed at a distance of x from this particular positive Q, right? Now whenever I say test charge, I said test charge is always taken as a unit positive charge, and hence it is plus 1, that is 1 coulomb, right? This point charge could be either positive, either negative, but here we have considered it as a positive in nature, right? But the test charge is always positive, and it is taken a unit positive charge whose magnitude is 1, right? Now I said you now very clearly that whenever you have an electric fields are confined to some particular regions. Electric field due to some charge cannot be everywhere. It is confined to some particular distance only. So to make you understand, I have just drawn a dotted lines representing that this the electric field, because of this point charge here, is up to this particular point. Beyond this region is electric field 0 here, right? Now so once again, you have a point charge here and you have a test charge here. Now this is point here where you find out what is the electrostatic potential. Now there is no charge right now here, it is empty, it is only a point, right? Now here you have a test charge. Now at this particular charge, now there is a entrance of this particular electric field lines. Whenever a test charge enter into electric field line, it experience force on it, right? If at all this test charge was here, then it would have experienced no force on it. Why? Because electric field is 0 here. It is an empty space, right? But it had entered the electric field region, right? Now here at this point, it experiences some force on it, right? Now you tell me, what was the force between the 2 point charges? What was it? The force experienced between both the point charges is Q, that is Coulomb's law, right? Between the two charges is plus Q. It is also a plus test charge, that is Q. Magnitude of two charges, right? 4 pi epsilon naught, right? And distance between them, it is x square, right? What is the value of Q naught here? Q naught is equal to 1. It is a unit positive charge, and hence you can write F is equal to Q divided by 4 pi epsilon x square, right? This is the force, right? Along which direction it is? Both are positive, right? They repel each other, positive charges repel each other, and hence the force of repulsion is in direction of O to A, that is, it is repelling. In the direction, you can write along OA, right? Now, the same test charge is further brought into field region now at a point B in a region or with a distance of dx, right? Now the work is done here, right? The work was not done in bringing this test charge from infinity. Why? Because there was no electric field or no energy, any other energy, right? But when it comes from this particular point A, when it is moved to point B, now it is coming into the field region. What is the electric field direction here? Electric field direction is in this region, right? And now you are moving a test charge opposite to this, that is in terms of here, that is A to B, right? Then there is always some work done in moving the charge against the field, right? The work done in moving a charge from the point A to point B can be represented as work done is equal to the force into displacement, right? Now what was the work done? It is a very small amount of the work done which is like taken place here in moving the charge A to B. So you can write a small amount of the work done, that is dW. Force is the force that is applied here and the distance is dx, right? And what is the force that is being taken here? That is on, we are going against the electric field, right? The force that is applied over this particular point in moving a charge from A to B is against the electric field. So you can take it as minus, right? Why? Because the electric field is this direction and we are moving into this direction, opposite direction, and hence it is taken as minus F into dx, right? Now substitute the value of F from this particular equation. So what do you get? dW is equal to minus of Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r square into dx, right? Now this is the work done for a very small distance, say dx, right? This is a very small work done to move a charge, that is test charge, from a point to from A to B for a very small distance dx, and hence it is represented as dW. If you want to move a test charge from the region of infinity to a point P, then you take the complete work done, that is total work done in moving a test charge from the infinity to P, right? Then you take integration. For small differential things you take d, right? For the whole when you want to consider, then you take integration. The total work done is from the point of integration to the point of d. D is the distance at this particular point P. From infinity you are getting a point up to the point P whose distance is d. So it is from infinity to d, it is dW, right? So now substitute these values here. What do you get? W is equal to integration of infinity to d, that is minus Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r square dot dx, right? Now further is all mathematics, right? Up to this particular point you have understood now, right? This was the work done for very small distance, movement of the test charge from A to B for a very short distance dx. Now this is the work done. It is a total work done in moving a test charge from the place of infinity to the point P for a distance of d from a point charge. Okay, did you understand up to this particular point, right? Now we are considering the total work done in moving a test charge from the place of infinity to a distance of d at this particular point P, right? So what you write as work done for the entire distance from the infinity to a point d, that is dW, right? Now what is the value of dW? That we have already seen for the small elementary distance. For this particular distance we had a small amount of the work done, right? You write that, that is minus 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon Q divided by x square dx, right? Now integrate this particular equation. What you get? You find minus, you take this minus Q 4 pi epsilon naught outside, that is further written here. W is equal to minus Q 4 pi epsilon naught outside, right? Integration from infinity to d. This is only, this term is left out now, 1 divided by x square dot dx, right? Now this x square can be taken in the numerator. When x square goes in the numerator, it becomes x raised to minus 2, right? The same thing again, the same thing exactly, only here is x square is being taken in the numerator, and hence we get x w is equal to minus q divided by 4 pi epsilon integration of infinity to a point d x raised to minus 2 dx. Right? Now integrate, this is all the mathematics now, right? Now integrate again further. You know what is the value of x raised to n? What is the integration formula for x raised to n? You have x raised to n into dx, that is x raised to n into dx can be written as x raised to n plus 1, n plus divided by n plus 1. On the similar lines, the same thing again, you write down this minus q divided by 4 pi epsilon outside. Now x minus n is what? Minus 2 plus 1. And here minus 2 plus 1, right? Simplify this, you get minus 2 plus 1 as x raised to minus 1, minus 2 plus 1 as minus 1, right? The same thing. You have again the limitations from infinity to d, right? Now the same thing again, see for example, this minus and this minus gets plus, right? And this x raised to minus 1, when you take in the denominator, it is 1 by x, right? The same exactly, it is followed here. Why you do not have minus sign here? This minus sign is being cancelled out with this denominator. Minus into minus, it becomes plus, right? So it is plus. And this x raised to minus 1, taking in the denominator, it becomes 1 by x, right? Now at this particular point, now substitute the limitations here, right? Substitute this upper limit minus lower limit. Write this q divided by 4 pi epsilon as it is. Upper limit, what is upper limit? That was d. So instead of writing x, you write 1 by d, right? Minus lower limit, that is 1 by infinite, right? You know what 1 by infinity is? It is 0. 1 by infinity will be equal to 0. So you do not consider this term further. So what you have? Q divided by 4 pi epsilon 1 by d. Is this clear, right? At this particular point, now what you can understand from the definition of electrostatic potential, right? Electrostatic potential can be defined as the amount of the work done in bringing a unit positive charge from the point of infinity in the electric field against it. Right, it is called as electrostatic potential. Then what does this mean? Here also the work done. Now here also we have considered the test charge moving from infinity to the point of electric field against it, right? Now hence you can write the work done will be equal to the electrostatic potential, right? W will be equal to V. This is with the definition, right? Now this, if at all you have got the expression for this W, then it also means you have got the expression for electrostatic potential, that is W is equal to, this is work done is equal to electrostatic potential is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon Q divided by D, right? Where finally you can write V is equal to, that is electrostatic potential will be equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon Q by D. If at all you can make a note over here, I haven't write any vector here. Why? Because it has no direction into it. Now the electric potential is a scalar quantity which has only magnitude, and hence we do not represent any directional vector. In the very previous classes in the electric charges and the field, whenever we write any expression, that is force expression, electric field intensity expression, we always express that particular terms in terms of directional vector. You had n vector, right, whose value is equal to 1. This particular vector could make you understand in which direction it is acting. But electrostatic potential is a scalar quantity, and hence we denote it only with the magnitude here, and there is no direction vector that is represented. Is this clear? And this electrostatic potential at this particular point P is only because of a single charge plus Q, right? What if there are so many charges and you want to find out the potential, electrostatic potential? Say for example, now that will be our next derivation. Say for example, you have a point here, you want to find out what is the electrostatic potential at this particular point P, and you have so many charges, right? This is Q1, Q2, Q3 and Qn. Right? You have so many charges. Now these so many charges are called as system of charges, and you want to find out what is the electrostatic potential at this particular point P due to all the charges. right? Then you have a separate derivation. If at all you have followed all the derivation from the very first class of the chapter 1, then what we have done when we have a system of charges, we have added algebraic sum of all the charges, right? We have added finally, and we have represented a final expression in terms of addition of all the parameters, right? So that has been done in the very next derivation, that is electrostatic potential due to system of charges, right? This derivation was only due to a point charge, that was only a one charge, but the next derivation will be system of charges. Is this clear? Now here in the very next derivation, that is electrostatic potential due to system of charges. The earlier was there was only one point charge and one test charge. Then we have found out what is the electrostatic potential, right? Now there are so many charges, right? Q1, Q2, Q3 dash dash up to Qn, and you want to find out what is the potential, that is electrostatic potential at this particular point, say P, right? Now you have P here, right? Here you have to find out what is the potential. Now the potential at this particular point will be because of all the charges, right? Now what is Q1 here? The distance between Q1 and P is R1, right? At R1 distance the Q1 is placed. The distance between Q2 and P will be R2. At R2 distance Q2 is placed. At R3 distance Q3 is placed, and at Rn distance Qn is placed, right? Now we will see differently, separately, what is the electrostatic potential due to only Q1. What is the electrostatic potential only Q1? Then it will be V1, right? V1 will be, just now we have seen it, 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1. Why? Because we are considering the first charge, divided by the distance. What is the distance? It was R1. You do not confuse between the electric field equation and this equation. In electric field equation and all, you have this R square, but in the potential it is R, right? Now this was for V1. On the similar line, what is V2? V2 is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught Q2 divided by, what is the distance between Q2 and P? It is R2. On the similar lines, V3 is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught Q3 divided by R3, right? And dash dash up to Vn will be equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught Qn, and what is the distance? It is Rn, right? We had an individual electrostatic potential of the charges on this particular point P. If at all we wanted what is the total sum of electrostatic potential at P due to all the system of charges, then the algebraic sum of all the electrostatic potential is done, right? So how it is done? The total electrostatic potential will be equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3 plus dash dash up to Vn. On the similar lines, you write down V is equal to, what was V1? 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 divided by R1, right? Plus V2 is what? 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught Q2 divided by R2. On the similar lines, dash dash up to Qn divided by 4 pi epsilon naught Rn, right? This was what it is, right? Now what is the common element that you find? It will be V is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon, right? It is Q1 by R1 plus Q2 by R2 plus dash dash up to Qn by Rn. Now this is the final electrostatic potential at this particular point P due to the system of charges. Now this further can be summated and can be written. V is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught summation of I is equal to 1 to n Qi divided by Ri, right? This can be further simplified. The electrostatic potential at this particular point due to the system of charges is given by V is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon summation of I. This is integer. It starts from 1. This I can be 1, 2, 3 dash dash up to n. So it is I is equal to 1 to n. So it is, if at all it is charge 1, then it is Q1 R1. If charge 2, Q2 R2. If n charge, Qn Rn. Is this clear? Now this is the total electrostatic potential at this particular point, right? It's very easy. First, if you could understand what is the electrostatic potential at some particular point due to one charge, then this is what. It is only an algebraic addition of all the potentials. Now this was all about today's class, right? In this particular class, we started with the second chapter, that is electrostatic potential and capacitance. We knew what electrostatic potential is, potential differences. Then we have derived electrostatic potential at some point due to a point charge. Then electrostatic potential at some point due to system of charges, right? Now the questions from this particular section is, if at all they could ask you for 1 mark question, then they'll ask you what are the SI unit of the electrostatic potential, right? And if at all the parameter holds the SI unit of joule per coulomb, then what is the parameter it is, right? It can be asked in that form. And then they can ask you what is electrostatic potential, whether it is a scalar quantity or vector quantity. If at all these questions are asked, then it is asked for 1 particular mark, right? And if they ask this kind of derivation, then these derivations are of 5 marks, right? They'll ask you express or deduce the expression for electrostatic potential due to a single point charge. Then you have to like write the very previous expression, that is previous derivation. If they ask you along with the system of the charges, then the previous one and this one, right, for 5 marks. Is this clear up to this particular point? We will continue in the very next class. The very next topics are equipotential surfaces. Notes for this particular chapter is given into description box. You can go there, download the material and you can study, right? And you please do visit my website regularly and visit my YouTube channels. Please like, share, comment and share with all your friends and families. Hopefully I feel all the things are very clear from my end, right? And thank you so much.